Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rabbi Stephen, Rashbi in the house, Rab Shmuel ben Yehoshua. This week's portion is V'Ethanan. It is the second portion of of Deuteronomy, not to be conserved with V'Etnatan, which is a portion earlier in the Torah. So first, a shout out to a couple of people. I'd like to acknowledge Sherry Reeder. Now, those of you who know Sherry know that she's having some health issues. It's a tough fight. Yet, with all her health maladies, there she is working like crazy. She's our ways and means person. She's planning events. She did our sing-along movie, Mamma Mia. We're planning a same sing-along for Grease, Dress 50s, Dress 50s. That's what it was, right? Mamma Mia was 70s, Grease is 50s. Okay, got it. and we're planning some other fundraisers, and she's just a dynamo. And Sherry, we're pulling you. We're praying for you every day. So make it through. Secondly, Saturday morning. If you haven't been to a Saturday morning service, a lot of people are turned off. It's long. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes typically. And that turns a lot of people off. They don't want to sit there. They got other things going on Saturday morning. They went Friday night. That's good enough. But I got to tell you, the crowd that we have coming Saturday morning, we typically always have a menu. My wife, the Rebbitzin, she does a great job of preparing the Kiddush afterwards. And we have the Cohen family, Roger, his wife Hepzibah Jen, who also prepares some stuff for us. And his son John Paul, the older son, who helps me on the Bima, Emmanuel Joseph, and Sky. You guys come up and do things as well. We got Lawrence Chalfin, who comes, usually brings either Ian and or Noah, his sons. And Saturday, Esmeralda, Dr. Esmeralda Chalfant was there. I guess with a deep sigh after having finished her doctorate. And we also have Bob and Lynn Kaplan. Bob, as you all know, for the last couple of years was the ritual director. Roger's taken it over. He's always there. And Lynn is always helping in the kitchen. And of course, Becky. We miss Dave. And we look forward to Dave getting a little bit better and coming and joining us. And Becky, you're always a delight, and you bring stuff too. And it's kind of like a potluck. We sit down, we have tuna fish, we have herring and bagels, and you got to come. Do it just once. Do it just once and see what you think. Okay, so this portion, the V'Ethanan, is a lot of stuff going on. First of all, before I forget, there's actually 3 verses in V'Ethanan that are replicated, that are part of our liturgy. The first one, V'aten hadvekim b'chem hayom, that's said during the Torah service at the end of the initial proclamation, as we're calling the Kohanim up. That's the first of 7-8 aliyot to come up. The second is V'yadata hayom v'hashevota el Adonai, which you all might recognize as the end of the first paragraph of Aleinu. That's in there too. And the third verse is V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe. This is the Torah that Moses gave to the people from God, and that's part of the Torah service as well. So we've got 3 verses in there. Additionally, there's a verse toward the end of this particular portion that talks about when your son asks you, what are these decrees and etc. that you mean? This is the first question, the wise son of the Passover Haggadah. Now remember, back in Exodus, we talked about a similar verse where the question was, and when people ask, Mazel, what is this to you? Okay, and this is the question of the evil son. The second son, who's maybe not evil, but maybe not so nice. Maybe doesn't understand, what's going on and has a different opinion. Maybe he's entering, the age where teenagers are getting a little rebellious. But he says, what does this mean to you? And as such, of course, in the Haggadah it says, and by saying to you, he means to exclude himself from, observing the Passover and honoring, the Exodus from Egypt. So this is really kind of the converse of that. Well, what do you mean by all these? Kind of asking in a way in which they're begging an explanation. And not only is this, and one of the reasons this is in the Pesach Haggadah is because it's kind of an example to all of us of all ages. We should always be asking, what is this? And we're going to come to a very important verse that in a couple of minutes. But first, there's another important part of this, which is the Decalogue. The Decalogue is the Greek word, I guess it's Greek, for the Ten Commandments. And this is kind of a repeat of the Ten Commandments, but there are a few exceptions. First of all, the fourth commandment in Exodus, when it was first given to the Israelites of the previous generation, think about that, the previous generation was Zachor et HaShabbat, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Now, Moses is exhorting the next generation, the new generation that has the backbone, the chutzpah, if you will, or the wherewithal to come and conquer the land. He's saying, Shamor et HaShabbat. Guard, safeguard the Sabbath. Because he knows that they're going in there. It's no more theoretical. They're going to be observing it. They're going to go into the land. They're going to conquer. And they're going to be observing all the laws. They're going to be setting down all the laws. So he's saying Shamor, a little bit more of an exhortation. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Friday night Mariv service, Friday night Shabbat Mariv, the evening service for Sabbath, what do we have? L'chadodi, Shamor v'Zachor. Both of them are there in that second verse. V'dibor echad, yes, keep singing. We enjoy that. Or Shalhamor, a couple of different melodies. So we have that exhortation too. Now, is it a different commandment? No, it's just a different point of view, let's say. I don't want to say version. Let's say it's a different point of view of the same commandment, really kind of the same exhortation to keep the Sabbath. Okay, now we come to the most important part, not just of the Torah, but of our religion, the Shema and the V'Ahavtah. So, Shema Yisrael, and this is the way it's been interpreted in the prayer books. Shema Yisrael, Hear O Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Lord our God, Adonai Echad. Okay? The Lord is one. Now, two letters are written larger than the other letters. The Ayin in Shema and the Dalet in Echad at the end. Now, one of the reasons that the Dalet is larger is so you don't, the Dalet and the Resh look alike. If you say Adonai Acher, then you're saying the God after, and you're implying that there are other gods. This is one God of many. So that's why that Dalet is enlarged, to make sure that you say Echad. And you're supposed to say Echad. You're supposed to enunciate it when you say that, to emphasize that. The other part of it is, as you've heard, the Ayin, let's see if I can do that, the Ayin and the Dalet are larger because together they form the word Aid. When you recite the Shema, evening and morning, you are bearing witness. That's what the word Aid means. You're bearing witness. Like all the other Israelites that have come before us, you're bearing witness to the majesty of God, of His commandments. And that's why V'Ahavtah follows right after it. V'Ahavtah is a paragraph that says basically, observe all the laws in each way that you can. Do not, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Right? It also says, put fringes on your garments, the tzitzit, right? So that you're, when you're looking at your clothes, you're always remembering. Put a mezuzah on your doorpost, so that when you go in and when you come out, and upon the gates of your cities, when you enter the city, so you're always reminded of those commandments, okay? And make them a sign on your arm and a sign between your eyes. That's the tefillin. So there's all these signs. It's saying, observe the commandments, but here's a reminder. Here's constant reminders that you are to obey all the commandments. The V'Ahavtah comes right after the Shema. Now, in my mind, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. This is the way I interpret, okay, for whatever reason. The Hebrew word to listen, listen, O Israel, the command form would be tishma. Shema is mean heard. Now, in the Torah, you will see a lot of times that the verb comes first and the noun comes second. By Deber Adonai, and God said, Al Moshe Lemor, told Moses, okay? Shema Yisrael, to me, sounds like Israel heard. It's an acknowledgement. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai is our God. It's our only God. Eloheinu can mean different gods, but Adonai Eloheinu means the God of all gods. One God. Adonai Echad, one God. Again, we've got the verb, or the adjective follows the noun as it does in Hebrew. In English, it's, good dog. So the adjective comes first. In Hebrew, it comes second. You would say Kelev Tov, dog, good dog, okay? Adonai Echad, one God. So I would say Israel heard the God of all gods, God, one God. That's, for what it's worth, that's how I would interpret it. Now, if you notice in the V'Ahavtah, and we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to just say this quickly, there's no Baruch Shem Kavod. Baruch Shem Kavod is not in the Torah. When you see a more traditional prayer book where you have the cantillations, the trope, the marks that tell you how to sing, how to chant the Shema, there's no cantillation under Baruch Shem Kavod. It's not in the Torah. The reason it's there, according to the Talmud, is because Shema Yisrael is a declaration. The V'Ahavtah is where you're being commanded, an exhortation. Okay, Baruch Shem Kavod separates that the same way it separates when you put on the arm tefillin and the head tefillin. Before you wrap the fingers, you say Baruch Shem Kavod as a way to separate. So, a lot of information this week. Come to services, we'll discuss it more. Please, people ask questions. That's great, love it. Hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom.